Breaking news is not just about the headlines. It is the
conviction of two men described by prosecutors as senior Ansaru commanders. After initially denying the charges, they have now pleaded guilty to all 32 counts, including terrorism financing, kidnapping, illegal mining, and manufacturing improvised explosive devices. The Federal High Court sentenced both men to life imprisonment, but the judgment has sparked fresh debate. Reports indicate the DSS believes that the punishment doesn't go far enough and is considering an appeal, arguing that the sentence falls short of the gravity of the crimes, particularly following the killing of two teachers during the Oriire school abduction. At the same time, a survivor of the kidnapping has also disputed the official account of how the hostages regained their freedom, raising questions about what really happened during that operation. So what does this conviction mean for Nigeria's fight against terrorism? That's what we're looking at in the second half. Is life imprisonment sufficient in a case of this magnitude? And what lessons should the country draw from both the trial and the Oriire rescue? I'm joined by former Assistant Director at the DSS, Dennis Amachree. Mr. Amachree, thank you for joining us again. This is one of the rare occasions where senior terror suspects indeed have pleaded guilty to terrorism charges in Nigeria. From a security standpoint, how significant is this conviction in the fight against terrorism?
Thank you very, very much. You see, this particular conviction and the previous one some weeks ago, have told us or have shown that I think the fight against terrorism is being taken very, very seriously by the DSS. These people have been killing people here and there, bombing, taking people hostage and doing all kinds of things. And finally, we've been arresting them. But previous governments have not done anything. Sometimes they just lock them up and leave them there, or sometimes they allow them to be broken. There will be a prison break and all of them will be released. So I am very, very happy, and I think I would say congratulations to the DGSSS for this particular feat.
After initially denying most of the charges, Mr. Amachree, both men appears to have suddenly changed their mind and pleaded guilty to all 32 counts. Could this have been part of a legal strategy, or does it suggest they believed perhaps the evidence against them was simply overwhelming?
Well, the evidence is very, very overwhelming against them. The evidence against them is not just the one in Nigeria. These are international, criminals. And many other countries are looking for them, So I think, first of all, for every criminal, the first reaction is denial. And then, of course, when it dawned on them that, of course, that old style of locking them up or slap on the wrist is not going to happen. They felt that if they now go ahead and plead guilty, they might have a lesser sentence. And I think that's what maybe their lawyer must have told them. But I think it's very, very inadequate relative to the gravity of the offenses they have committed, And I am in support that the DSS is going after them to make sure that they have the maximum, maximum sentence.
Indeed, the DSS is considering life imprisonment too lenient, and we're hearing that they are seeking the death penalty. The argument is that two teachers were killed while the terrorists demanded their commanders released. I'm just thinking... Yes, go ahead, Mr. Amachree.
Just think about it. Just think about it. These are people that have been killing people all around. They are part of the people that put a teacher on social media right in front of cameras. They slaughtered him like a ram. They've been shooting our generals. They've been killing our generals. And then when they come, they will be pleading for, a sentence that will take them for just maybe death, life imprisonment, hoping that their compatriots will come and break into the prison and take them. No, there is a legal precedent, and of course, I think the DSS is sticking to a zero tolerance baseline.
The executive has been rather reluctant signing death penalties these days, but we'll see how that goes if DSS goes ahead to appeal. But the courts, had allegations of links to countries like Libya, the Sahel and the Maghreb, issues of weapons training, sleeper cells, illegal mining used to fund terrorism. What does this tell us about how sophisticated and just how interconnected Ansaru has become?
Now, let me tell you, Ansaru itself is a breakaway faction of Boko Haram. And then when they broke out, because the reason they broke out was Shekau of Boko Haram was very busy killing people, throwing bombs in the market where, innocent people were dying. And then the Ansaru people break away. Now, let me tell you about Ansaru. The people that broke away are very educated. One of these people that are being sentenced to death is a graduate, computer science, and these guys are really people that, they don't look at the pedestrian side of it. They manufacture bombs. They have the skills to manufacture bombs. They have the skills, to pilot drones, and these people, in fact, Ansaru itself have got a lot of new technology in their hands, so they are a set of people that you just cannot let go, and they've killed a lot of people because of the kind of things they are doing. So for maximum deterrence against this institutional and local compromise, they have to get the death sentence.
Reports suggest that the kidnappers demanded the release of some of these commanders during the Oriire negotiations. I'm wondering what you think that reveals about the command structures and, of course, the coordination among terrorist groups operating in Nigeria.
Well, there is a big organizational structure that goes on, and what happens at the top level sometimes, might not be privy to even the security agencies. But what we know is that when you look at their structure, there are people who are in the surveillance, who look out for who to, they go around and surveil schools that are possible to be, attacked. There are catchers, the people that actually go for the, hostage taking, the abduction. And then, of course, there are keepers. And of course, that the people who slaughtered them are part of the keepers. And after the keepers, you have the negotiators, and then, of course, you have the leaders, the financiers, who direct them and tell them exactly what to do. So the organization is right there. And, the DSS have gone. Remember, some weeks ago, 12 people were convicted to death sentence, terrorists. So this shouldn't be different.
One of the freed teachers says the terrorists released them before security operatives arrived. The narrative prior to this time is the federal government maintaining that this was indeed a rescue operation, and that's what we've reported, an operation with arrest and no prison exchange. How should Nigerians interpret these seemingly conflicting narratives? Do you think both can exist as the truth?
Well, both can exist as the truth because, see, it's fluid. The situation is very, very fluid. Some of them can say, oh, we're almost releasing them. And then, of course, the security agents came in and then did everything. One important thing you have to realize is that the operation itself, was one that was squeezing life out of the terrorists. They were totally surrounded in that forest. And as they move in, they cut off all their food supplies, they cut off all their communication, links, and they were, in fact, they don't have much options, so they could tell you that, oh yeah, we were almost releasing them, but they knew that they've lost the game.
Just how much operational detail should security agencies disclose after such operations, especially listening to what some Nigerians are saying?
Well, I think Nigerians should be happy that we're even discussing this, because some of these things could be classified for years before we hear them. But the DSS is able to, come out and even talk about it. Other people that are in the know are talking about it. The military is talking about it. So at least this just to inform the public, because there are a lot of people who are still believing otherwise, who don't believe that the security agencies can do what they did. And let me tell you, terrorists exist, and one of their major objectives is publicity. And of course, the Nigerian press, especially social media now, is giving them all the publicity they need. And we cannot continue doing that. And I think the military has come out to talk about it because they feel that they should at least tell the Nigerian public what is going on. Otherwise, some of these things could be classified for years before they even come to public knowledge.
But security operatives would need all of the support of majority of Nigerians, right? Do you think they carry a burden to convince them some more, or they don't care? Or they shouldn't care?
No, they do care. I think that's what they are doing. They are busy informing in different ways, and the military is talking. You've heard even the general coming out to talk about the 82 Division GOC has come out to talk about it, So, of course, they care. And then, of course, the public should also understand that this is a very, very sensitive situation, and they're doing all they can to make sure that, personally, I'm very, very happy that, the security agencies have started doing what we've been asking them to do. Because before, no prosecution, we see some arrests, and that is the end of it. But now we are seeing prosecution, and people are being sentenced to death according to the laws of the National Assembly, that anybody caught with terrorism is death sentence.
Former Assistant Director of the DSS, Dennis Amachree, thank you so much for your insight on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
That's our show today, everyone. Remember, you can watch it again at midnight and 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye.